The one thing with buying a bike, when you walk up to it, you should be smiling your head off. Love this thing. Right, let's get the disclaimers out of the way. Before I jump into this vlog, this is going to be just my opinion on how to get the right Harley Davidson for you. So take it as an opinion. However, as always, leave your comments in the comments section below. Look at it as giving advice to other people, and we can all chip into this, eh? So let's start off with my story, how I bought my first Harley and how I came to that decision. I'm going to base this on experience. Trying to find that first Harley Davidson was an absolute nightmare, if I'm honest. The only way I could picture it to you guys, it was like being thrown into the cockpit of a 737 and then someone telling you to take the right flight path, use the controls correctly. Basically, I didn't know what I was looking for. And in the end, for me, what it came down to is my mate's advice and budget. So anyway, congratulations on deciding to buy a Harley. You're in it with a good brand, some great bikes, some great people most of the time, and you're gonna love it. First bit of advice, it's addictive. There's a little hashtag that I do with keep it stock, he said. And I think with most of the bikes that I've got from Harley, that's one of the things I've always said. I'm going to keep it stock. I'm going to keep it as it is. And it somehow never turns out that way. So without a doubt, the first thing you've got to do is set the playing field. You've got to know what you're playing with. And then knowing what you're playing with means that you can then narrow down your search on the type of bike. So first things first, budget. Budget is massive. If you look at Harley Davidson, you go onto eBay, and click in Harley Davidson and look for bikes, you will see bikes from 500 up to about 40,000 quid. There's a lot of bikes, a lot of choice. So what we really need to understand is your budget. Looking at your budget, there's different ways you can play. Buy the bike outright. If you look at the dealership, you can do PCP, do finance. So there's lots of ways that you can look at obtaining your perfect bike. So once you understand your budget, how much you can spend on the bike, whether it be per month or buying it outright, you really need to look at your insurance, guys, because that is, or can be, a stinger. So you need to factor that in as well. So good news, you got your budget sorted, you know what you can spend, what you can do. Now it's time to look online, because that's where you need to go. You need to understand that the place you're getting the bike from is a good place, good reputation, because you want to have excellent customer service. You want to make sure that they're going to look after you past the point of you purchasing that bike. So what you need to do is go on to Google, good old Google, and type in Harley Davidson and your area. And then what should typically pop up is the Harley dealerships in your area. What I'd always recommend is looking at their reviews. So before you look at their bikes and what they've got in stock, look at what people are saying about them. That's really important, guys, because you choose the wrong dealership, you're in trouble. So yeah, you can say this is one of the most important aspects of buying a HD. So you're looking at their Google reviews, and I assume they're good, really positive, consistent. You might get the odd one negative, but that's gonna happen at some point, but it should be really consistent. The next thing I want you to do is go onto Facebook. Gotta love Facebook. And then what you want to do is punch in that dealership's name and go and check them out, because again, they'll have reviews on their Facebook page. It is so important for any type of business, retailer, service deliverer, that they have got good reviews. Okay, so the next thing is now booking yourself into the dealership. Now I know for some it could be a little bit nerve-wracking, let's be honest. You're going into a foreign place that you don't really, or never been before, but it's really key for you guys to tell them that you're new to this, you're a first-time rider or new to the brand, and they'll set you up appropriately then for that appointment. So going into the dealership, it's going to be a little bit like Christmas, guys, I ain't gonna lie. I remember the first time I went into a dealership, I didn't actually know that, I mean, there were so many sparkly bikes. Everyone knows I love those extrovert colours. Having the sales guys, getting them to guide you along is a good thing. Now the one thing I would say is that you need to really work out what type of riding you're going to be doing. For example, if you're going to be doing short distance riding, you're going to need a bike that's more suited towards that, like a Sportster. But the other way around looking at it is that if you're going to do long distance riding, then I wouldn't be getting a Sportster. The key thing as well once you're in that dealership is always remember your budget. You are going to be on cloud 9 at this moment in time. You're buying a bike. Your inhibitions to control yourself are going to start to waver, and that budget that you've been so heavily on focusing on and sticking to might waver. So keep that all in check at this point. So one thing I always suggest is make sure that you test ride as many bikes as possible, and that goes for all styles, because that'll give you a good idea of the feel about what these bikes are like. I think one of the issues that we have is that people go in, they do one test ride on a bike, and then they buy a bike straight off it. One of my mates just, he's been a Harley rider for a fair few years. He took one bike out, had it for a couple of days in fact from the dealership, and he was like, oh, I don't know whether to get this or not, and then he took another one out for 2 days and he chose that one. It's really key that you try as many bikes as possible. The one thing that I'd always tell people to consider as well is not just a brand new bike from the dealership, but actually a second-hand one. Let's take my bike for example. This is a second-hand FX DLS. When I picked her up, it did 402 miles, loads of accessories on it, and the bill came to around £23,500, brand new. Let me tell you something, I paid nowhere near that, and I got myself, in terms of the value for money, an absolute bargain here. So I would also look for those Harleys that have had a minimum from a second-hand perspective, perhaps a stage 1, because this is the other thing you've got to consider, is that I guarantee 99.9% of you will not be keeping that bike stock. It's a tough thing to say, and I've always said it, I keep my bike stock, but it just will not happen. You will have a stage 1 on it, and that in itself, if you're getting the dealership to fit it, that's going to cost well over £1,000. The other thing that I would say as well, buying from a dealership, you've got that added bit of protection with the warranty. Now, the one thing I would say to you newbies, from experience, I've been through a full warranty claim. So what happened on my engine is that the gearbox essentially imploded on itself, and it was a complete one-off for that Harley engine. There was something missing, there was a bearing missing, and because of that I had a big manufacturer issue. My bike was changed straight away. Well, not straight away, but it was within 5 to 6 weeks after some investigation that they had to do, which was fair enough. So the warranties do work, and I am living proof of that. So you've now considered your options of what type of riding you'll be doing, whether it be long distance or short distance. You've got your budget at hand, you're being supported by the dealership, by the salesperson in front of you, and you know they're a good dealership because you've looked on Google, you've looked at their reviews online, via Facebook, so you're in a good place, guys. Now the next thing you got to do is get those bikes out, test ride them. The one thing I would say is take your time, do not rush this experience. You need to make sure this is the right bike for you. Once you have bought that bike and wheeled it out the dealership, that is it. You can't take it back and say it wasn't the right bike. You're going to lose money straight away. So what I'd always recommend is book in that day out. Book the day out at the dealership. Make sure you've got no time pressures against you, because it's going to be worth it in the end. Now when you take that bike out, they should have some type of route that you can go on. There should be a mixture of motorway, A-roads, village environments, roundabouts, that you can basically try this bike on. So you've taken the bike out, you've narrowed it down now. You are loving life. Now this is the danger point for me with you guys. You are very excited. You want that bike right now. You cannot wait. And you're saying to them, get me on the road. At this point, I need you to take a deep breath. This is going to be the difference between getting a good deal and getting an okay deal, as far as I'm concerned. What you need to do is sit down with that salesperson and start working out the numbers. Now, I'm not going to say to you, you can get £500 off what they're advertising at, or you can get £1,000 off even, or 2,000, because at the end of the day, you just need to walk away feeling that you've had a good deal overall. So once you've crunched those figures with the salesperson, what you then need to do is just step away from that environment, let all that information sink in. Now, most Harley Davidson dealerships have coffee shops and all sorts going on in their dealership. I don't even want you to have a coffee in there or a tea. Get the hell out of there. You just need some time alone to crunch the figures and make sure it works within your budget. If it doesn't, then go back and start pressing lower on those figures to what you want. And 9 times out of 10, you should be able to do that within reason. Yeah, so overall guys, it should be a really enjoyable experience for you buying your first new Harley Davidson. So hopefully that's a little bit useful for you guys. The big thing is all about vetting that you're going to the right dealership to buy your motorbike, that you're then sticking to the budget that you've got, that you're checking with the insurance company to making sure the insurance cost is right for you, and then it's about trying the bikes and making sure that you get the right one for your needs. So yeah, enjoy it. That's what it's all about. And 2 years later, I'm still absolutely loving it. But as always guys, make sure you ride safe. Take care in this winter weather we're coming into now, in the UK especially. Today it's 5 degrees Celsius, and I'm taking my time on the road slightly. Although the sun's out, it's there's still some icy patches around. But as always, see you soon. All the best. Motonewbrider. God damn it.